Welcome back, everybody. This is Star Wars Week, Day 4. We are almost there, just a couple days away. So today I wanted to go ahead and talk about Journey to Star Wars The Last Jedi. That is a group of tie-in novels. There's about 3 or 4 of them, but I'm going to talk about 3 today, the 3 that I found more interesting. So let's get right into it. Actually, before we get into that, there will be spoilers for the books. There might be spoilers for The Last Jedi. Fair warning. So the first one I want to discuss is a book called Leia, Princess of Alderaan, and this was written by Claudia Gray. If you guys remember, she did Lost Stars and Bloodline, so she's well versed in the Star Wars universe, and this book was no exception. I really enjoyed this book, and this book takes place on Leia's 16th birthday, and this is 3 years obviously before the Rebel Alliance, but her parents have already started the process of bringing senators and planets who share their ideals and their goals of bringing the Empire down, but they're trying to keep their daughter in the dark because they feel if she doesn't know anything that's vital to the cause, that maybe the Empire would leave her alone after they find out that she knows nothing. But deep down inside, they all know that that will not be the case, that the Empire will use her against her parents to hurt them, to get information, to break them down. And so slowly and very reluctantly, they bring her into the fold. Reading this book, the first chapter really is when I felt the loss of Carrie Fisher the most, because it begins on her 16th birthday and she has to present herself at the palace, and with the ancestral Alderaan sword in hand, and stake her claim to becoming the future ruler of Alderaan. And this is such a powerful, moving scene that really brought me back to thinking about Carrie Fisher and the first time we saw her as Princess Leia. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. There isn't a whole lot, at least from right now, without seeing The Last Jedi, that ties in, other than that we do visit Crate, and this is the base where the early Rebel Alliance has decided to locate. The second novel I want to talk about is Legends of Luke Skywalker, and it's written by Ken Liu. I believe this might be his first time taking a step into this Star Wars galaxy. Anyway, this book is about a freighter who's making its way to Canto Bight. That's a city we're going to see in The Last Jedi. And the passengers on board are trading stories back and forth about the great Luke Skywalker. Some of them are tall tales. Some of them end up just giving us a glimpse of who Luke is and his personality. But there's 2 that really caught my attention in particular. The first one is a story that takes place sometime after the events of Return of the Jedi. And it's Luke taking off to the universe, to the galaxy, and seeking more answers that about the Force. And he comes across this water planet where the inhabitants are very strongly connected to the Force, except that they call it the Tide. The thing is that they don't use it as a Jedi might. They're not warriors. They're a peaceful people, and the way they manipulate the Tide is really how they connect to their planet, to the ocean, to the animals, to everything around them. And so Luke comes to them because he wants to learn. He wants to find answers that he won't get anymore from Yoda or from Obi-Wan because they are gone at this point. And it was just really interesting to see that there are other Force users in the Star Wars galaxy, in the world. The second story is of Luke, who was exploring out in space and somehow gets lured into the stomach of a space slug. And while he's in there, he discovers that many eons ago, other Force users that referred to the Force as the Mist were swallowed and put in that same predicament as him. But what he finds out, that they were able to manipulate the Force/Mist so well that they built this cocoon that built them from time. And the reason they built this cocoon is to preserve themselves and maybe one day find a way to escape from the space slug. So again, this is really interesting to me because I think this may tie into Rey's origins, to Rey's her parentage and where she comes from, because it's clear now that there are other Force users that are not Jedi, that are not Sith, and that's very interesting to me. And I hope that we get a little answer to what that may be all about in The Last Jedi. Right, the final book I want to talk about is Phasma, and this one's written by Delilah S. Dawson. This is her second entry into the Star Wars galaxy. The first one was a short story. This is the first full novel she writes for a galaxy far, far away. This book obviously is about Captain Phasma and her origins. We get to discover where her home planet is and what type of planet she comes from. She came from a planet that's very primitive. Once upon a time, they were very advanced with technology, but it's been many generations since that has happened. And when the book begins, we get to see her rise to power and her becoming the leader of her clan alongside her brother. Her brother is the one who is more calmed down. He is the leadership, and she is a warrior, the protector, because of her great skills in battle. And it's Brendel Huck's ship has crash landed on this planet, and that is General Huck's father. And Phasma feels that this is her way to get her way off this planet, to find her way to newer technologies, and that's where the story takes us. And we find out that there is a rival within the First Order, who feels that Phasma isn't who she seems to be, and he's finding ways to expose her. And that's where the story takes us after he captures a resistance spy, and she's the one who's relaying the story of her travels for Princess Leia, General Leia, the story she's gathered, the information he has. So he's trying to torture it out of her, and he's trying to use it for his own means. And we discover that indeed Phasma is as ruthless as we think she is. She'll do anything to get ahead, and we even get hints that she may be faithful and loyal to the First Order, but the moment that her goals and the First Order goals don't align, it wouldn't be a surprise for her to turn against Kylo Ren or Snoke or anyone who's in charge in order for her to get what she wants. So it's a really bloody, ruthless origin story of Captain Phasma, and I'm actually looking forward to what they do with her in The Last Jedi, especially in those scenes we've gotten already from the teaser trailer where she fights Finn. I don't think it's going to go very well for Finn, because from this book we get the sense that she's a great warrior. Alright guys, so there you go. That's my little wrap, my little talk about these books. There is another book by the name of Canto Bight. I have not gotten around to reading that one, but I will. I might do a review on that one later. Also, let me recommend a book by the title of From a Certain Point of View. It's written by a group of authors, and it's a retelling of A New Hope, but we get to experience it from a different set of eyes in every chapter. It's from a side character. It's really interesting, and I think you should go check that one. Check that one out. It does not relate to Journey to Star Wars The Last Jedi, but it is within the Star Wars new canon, so go check that one out. Anyways, Adrian's taking over tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday to do a review with both of the boys. So for now, this is GB saying